Hi, my name is Patricia Bay, and this is my lesson on conflict resolution strategies. This is geared towards 6th grade students and hopefully helping them gain some tools to navigate the conflict that will happen between their peers and their parents or their teachers during their middle school years. So first I'd like to go over with the students what conflict and conflict resolution actually is. I would assume that most students have heard of both of these terms, but you never know, so just going over these definitions to start. I would ask, what is conflict? And then take 2 or 3 answers maybe from students to get, just start to gauge where they're at with their understanding of what conflict is. And then the same thing with what is conflict resolution. And then I would give my definitions, which are: conflict is a disagreement or an argument. It means you don't agree with someone about something. And then conflict resolution is an informal or formal process that 2 or more people use to find a peaceful, non-violent solution to their dispute. Then I have 2 situations that I want to go through with the students. One is with conflict with an adult, and then one is with conflict with peers. And I just want to give them this little scenario and then ask what they would do. And with each scenario, I would take probably 2 or 3 answers from different students, just to give the class some real life examples. The first one is: your parents have a rule that you need to finish your homework before you can go play with friends after school. You know that everyone is heading to the park to play soccer after school. You ask your parents if you can do homework after dinner instead of immediately after school, but they say no. By the time you finish your homework and make it down to the park, your friends are in teams and the game has started. What would you do? And so then we would just kind of talk about what they would do, and if they're on the right track with their conflict resolution, I would encourage them in that, or maybe have some gentle correction if they show some unhealthy signs of conflict resolution. And then same thing with scenario number 2. Your middle school is a lot bigger than your elementary school. In elementary school, you saw your best friend all the time. Now you don't get to see each other very often, and you don't have any classes together. You see that your friend is making a lot of new friends that you don't know. Today you saw your best friend eating lunch with their new group of friends. You walked by them, and your best friend didn't ask you to sit down and eat with the new group. How would you respond? So we would go through those, and then we would move on to identifying unhealthy ways to solve conflict. So I would take some suggestions from the students and then show them the list that I've made, which is refusing to listen to the other person's side of the story, talking about the problem with people who aren't involved, insisting on getting your way no matter what, yelling, overgeneralizing by saying you always or you never, and then forgetting to listen. And then we would do the same thing with some healthy ways to solve conflict. I would ask the students for their ideas and then put up the ones that I've come up with. So be ready to forgive and forget, compromise, use calm, kind words, deal with one issue at a time, walk away, share or take turns, ask the person to stop, use I statements like I feel this, when you do this, I want this, listen to the other person, talk about the situation only with the people involved, don't gossip. Try and see the situation from the other person's perspective. Then I would like to talk with them about some ways that they can be better listeners. I think adults need help with this, and students certainly need help with this at times. So we could go over these reasons or these ways that they can be better listeners to each other. Listen to the reasons the other person gives for being upset. Make sure you understand what the other person is saying from their point of view. Repeat the other person's words and ask that you understood correctly. Ask the other person if there is anything else they want to say, and give them a minute or 2 to think about it before they answer. Resist the temptation to interrupt the person with your own feelings. Let them say all that they want to say, and make sure you understand their words before saying your own feelings. And then obviously, like within all of this, if kids ever have questions or want clarification on something, I would stop and do that. Then I want to take a minute. I'm not going to play it for this video, but I would play this, I think it's 5.5 minutes long. There's this video by the kid president, and it's really funny. He just goes through about how you can disagree and how you can get along, and he has some some quotes in there that are relevant to conflict resolution, and he's just funny, and like I think the kids would identify well with the kid president, and so I would show that. And then we have a little activity. So I would print out all of these scenarios that show healthy and unhealthy conflict resolution. The first step is to take an envelope, so pretend like this is one big envelope already, and then you just cut it in half, and it makes 2 pockets just like this, and you just tape the back side down so that stuff doesn't fall out. And then so step 1 is to do that. Step 2, I would have the kids decorate however they wanted, draw pictures, but label one envelope healthy conflict resolution and the other envelope unhealthy conflict resolution. So once they've done that, the next step is to cut out the scenarios that I gave them. And then the 4th step is to divide up into pairs and discuss which pocket you think the different scenarios go in. So I won't do every single one, but like one of them is you work to find a win-win solution to the problem. So that would go in the healthy conflict resolution pocket. Or you talk about the problem with everyone except the person involved. That's going to go in the unhealthy pocket. You refuse to listen to your friend's side of the story. Unhealthy conflict resolution. Let's see if I can find another healthy one here. Here's one. You try to see the problem from the other person's perspective. So that would go in the healthy one. So they would go through, talk about all of those, and then we would come back together as a whole class, and I would just go over the answers to make sure they understood which ones go in which pocket. And then I would have them choose one healthy scenario or strategy that they will focus on the next time a conflict comes up. So maybe they want to choose trying to see the problem from the other person's perspective. And so they'll identify that in their mind and try and remember that the next time they get in a disagreement. And then I want to close with this quote by Winston Churchill. It just says, "Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen." And then I would close by thanking the students for participating and for being willing to learn. So that's my lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you.